My mother called it the day of tragedy. It's not clear why a family has to experience so many misfortunes at one time. It never is. It might have been the stars. On that day, Pluto was in opposition to my Venus and Moon. But Pluto hadn't been discovered yet. And I don't know what celestial bodies might have been influencing my brothers, Max and Karl, that morning. Ah, my brothers. I loved them dearly, despite the fact that they disfigured me for life. I remember that day well. That's when I realized the power I had over Max and Karl. They were simply boys, as yet unaware of my charms. And they were strictly forbidden to be alone with me. Papa was in his study. And Mother was out, as usual.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ich komme.
Cook was at the market getting ingredients to bake a plum cake for her darling boys. And my nanny, she was getting very distracted. They say young children are not so much callous as ignorant about what it means to inflict pain. But believe me, pain also bonds.
Oh mein Gott. Oh.
I had pushed them in their beds out of their room. They were powerless to change the fact of me and the effect I had on our mother. Oh, how they hated me. The cowbell. My mother had a fondness for cowbells. And my papa, truly a city man, went out of his way to learn how to make them. He ended up with a collection of 23. And the 24th?
Hallo, ihr Lieben. Wo seid ihr alle? Max, Karl? Hallo?
Jeder für sich.
Salomea.
I never reproach my beloved brothers for the cowbell incident.
Wir müssen kühlen.
And my nose didn't stay quite as red, more a hot pink. But I learned how to use powder to mask it. I was the family darling, and the boys were crazy about me. A band of nutniks. That's what Mother called us. But this is not where the story of my nose ends. You might imagine a proper punishment was in store for the boys.
Das ist mein Versteck.
Max understood it was time to go off on his own. Karl figured he would be shot at dawn, but wanted to be spared a beating. The moment Mother realized I was never going to be perfect again was the instant she thought of my brothers.
Wo sind die?
Karl! Max! Komm raus! Komm auf! Ich bin denn?
Oh Gott. Mach, dass ihr nichts passiert ist.
But that day, God was only partially listening.
Ich hab euch einen Pflaumenkuchen gebacken. Max? Max? Ich hab ihn gefunden!
They not only stopped his sneezing, they got caught up in there. Leaving Max with a schnoz that made mine look petite in comparison. So, what happened to Karl? Poor Karl. He could bear anything except Papa's fits.
Was ist hier los?
Ich habe sie mit einer Kuhglocke auf der Nase gefunden.
Max hat sich etwas in die Nase gesteckt und wir können Karl nicht finden.
Wir müssen mit Max zum Arzt.
Karl! Ah! Sofort, Karl!
Karl was determined to be brave. He would be braver than Max and stronger than the table he was hiding under. I loved that good, solid oak table. It was made the old-fashioned way in the previous century. It could take an extra 4 leaves and at Passover seat a party of 18.
Karl! Karl! Sofort hervor!
Aua! Papa.
Karl!
Karl.
Several doctors could not save Karl's eye. As a child, he preferred an eye patch to a glass eye. It would be years before he would wear one.
Karl, bleib stehen, die Wunde ist! Bleib stehen, Karl!
Max, the genius of our family, sneaked off with Karl's dead tissue, and they gave it a proper burial. Not for the eye, but to commemorate our day of tragedy. And Mother would use that day to forever measure all misfortunes. She also blamed it for the fate of her children. For Max interrupting his studies and fighting in the Great War. For Karl, becoming a bon vivant and spending all his time and money in bordellos.
Ja, die Augen waren's. Der Mond, die mir blickte, die mich küssten.
Karl enjoyed switching eye color to amuse and to seduce. And she blamed that day for turning me into a willful woman who smelled what was coming. My sense of humor, my nose, won me the handsomest man in Berlin, who finally took me and our daughters to New York, which was a good thing. My daughters had the proper genetic material for good noses, but I was determined to help. I spent years forming them, pinching and prodding them, and I was very successful. Then I started with my grandchildren.
Komm, setzen Sie sich. Ja, doch.
Ah ja, komm. Ja.
Only old photos are left from the time and from the apartment my parents lived in through a war and a revolution. It took some time, but Mother eventually forgave Papa. But Nanny's name was never mentioned. perhaps it was the special affection the two had for plum cake, or their love of Berlin, or their devotion to our parents. But when the time came, neither Max nor Karl would join me in America. The cowbell collection was either sold or stolen after Mother died, which was just before the war. Papa died a few weeks later from a broken heart. I stopped getting letters from my beloved brothers early in 1942. Back then I imagined they fought a good fight, helped others and themselves, and succeeded. I never returned to Germany. I didn't want to. I prefer to remember what love and luck left on our faces.
Hi, Max!
Now I'm gone too. But the story of the two noses and an eye lives on with my grandchildren. And their children. And for this I'm grateful.
Ich hab kein Heimatland.